Okay, what's up, guys? Teddy here. So today I wanted to talk about something I haven't really talked about on the channel before, but it's something I'm really interested in and I watch all the time. It's Apex Pro Play. I'm always watching the LAN events, the tournaments. I tune into the scrims like Imperial House streaming and stuff. Right now, it's my favorite esport by far, and it's only growing. It's only growing and getting better. But the new season update, Season 16 Revelry, they changed a lot in Apex, and I wanted to talk about how some of the changes may impact pro play and just talk about what I'm really curious about seeing and what we might see in the future of pro play. So, if you didn't know, they made a lot of new changes involving the class system in Apex. They basically did a whole rehaul on it, and they changed the way the scan beacons work. So, basically now we have the assault class, the skirmisher class, the recon class, support, and controller. Now, here's how I think these will impact the pro meta. So recon legends, they still scan survey beacons, but the survey beacon changed. Now instead of showing you the ring location, it's going to show you where everyone is on the map. A must have. Probably even more important than having a recon character that shows you where the players are. And who do I think is going to take that controller spot? I think it's going to be Watson. I think we already see a bunch of teams running Watson in pro play, especially in the last LAN in London. But a lot of teams are going to have their flex character flex to Watson, which a lot of them are used to, probably, or at least somewhat used to from past metas. But out of all the controllers, she's really the only one that sees play in pro play. There's also another huge change. They gave the support class a new ability. What the support class can now do is they can craft respawn banners long after the timer runs out and without ever having to grab it. Which, again, if you didn't know, is also huge in pro play. Because if you get down that teammate, you're just at a disadvantage the whole rest of the game. And teams know this, so they can't banners and they make it really hard for you to get a respawn. And I think this is going to be very important in pro play. And so, because of this, we might see more like I don't know if we're going to see any Gibbies, but I think we're going to see Lobas and Newcastles. Now, I'm curious on what's going to be meta and what just is going to be run by some teams. Because some teams are definitely going to have a support. Some teams already do have some of these characters, like Loba. And we saw some Newcastle play, but whenever we saw it, they never did good. But I think a lot of teams are going to run probably Loba. We may see teams like Watson, Loba, and Seer. I think that's a very likely combo. I'm really going to try to keep up with pro play to see where the meta shifts overall. But yeah, if they run Valk, but then they're going to lose one of these abilities, which I would say all of them are super important. Same with Bangalore. We might see a lot less Bangalores because she's just not that important. If I'm going to forego one of these abilities, it's going to be for a Valk and not for an aim assist counter, which is basically why a lot of teams run Bangalore. They run her as just an aim assist counter because her aim assist doesn't work in her smokes. And aim assist is huge right now in pro play. So another thing, if you do have a recon character, you might not need a controller. That's a possibility because you can see from where all the other teams with a controller go if you have a recon character. You'll be able to see, okay, they're grouping up here. It's most likely that's where Circle's pulling. So we might see teams run something like Valkyrie, Seer, and Loba. I think that's going to be a huge possibility. I just wonder how useful Valk is still going to be. And especially with this update and having the new recon characters basically get the map room ability from King's Canyon, I think we'll see a lot of teams use that in combination with Valk to see what spots are open. But let's say we don't see Valkyrie. Valkyrie just may not be worth it anymore. I doubt that, but let's act like let's think about what it would be like if that's the case. Like we may see teams like TSM run Wraith to get that rotation that Valk used to give, because now we got Wraith and Pathfinder have a lot longer rotational abilities. So they may genuinely compete with Valk. And we may still see teams run Bangalore because they just don't want to deal with that aim assist, which is just getting larger and larger. More teams and more players just keep switching to controller because you don't need that advanced movement tech that MNK offers. A lot of the times you really need that just close range tracking, and I think everyone can just agree controller dominates that close range tracking. It's just unbeatable. Not unbeatable, but It's just unarguably better. And all the controller players, all the fucking little babies, they love to whine. You use your whole arm, you use your whole arm, you use a fucking program. Which is worse? Which is worse? Tell me. Arm or program? But like every time you talk about the fact that controller is good, but then you get all these fucking like ooga booga controller players thinking you're talking about their dumbass fucking gold lobbies, and they get all upset being like, "Oh, you can tap shave, you can tap shave, you can use your whole arm." But like, and we're no one's talking about that. No one's talking about your shitty little console gold lobby, kid. Okay, like we're talking about pro play with pro fucking players, and controller is the best. This fucking stats show it. Like, and then they go, "Oh, if you're complaining so much, why don't you switch to controller?" I'm not a pro player. I think MK is fun. And I don't care about when a controller player kills me in my games because I genuinely don't notice. I've never been able to notice when it's a controller player that killed me. One, in Apex, you don't see the POV of your death. I don't know a controller player kills me just based on how they fought. I don't know how people tell that. Like, I see it. I see pros being like, oh, the guy's on controller as they're like fighting them. I can't tell that. I can only tell by watching their perspective of it. So I don't care in my games, and I think MNK is more fun. I played controller for most of my life, but switched to MNK because I wanted to try something new. But yeah, I'm talking about pro here, you little ooga booga bitch. And as we can see from these graphs, I mean, at least during the London LAN, controller players had a higher average kills per game than MNK players, even though there were more MNK players. And there is an outlier to this. Obviously, Sweet was the kill leader the entire tournament, and he is an MNK player. But the exception doesn't make the rule. Controller players on average did better than MNK players, which says a lot. We're really starting to get to the peak of controller over MNK. For a while before this, we saw like the build up to it and we saw it getting more and more dominant over time, but now it's finally overtaken MNK, at least in pro play. So I think because of that, a lot of teams may still choose to run Bangalore over a character with one of these abilities. And now, after talking about all the legend changes in pro play, let's talk about the big ol' elephant gun in the room, the Nemesis. The Nemesis is absolutely broken right now. Personally, I'm not the best with it. I've just had this burst fire disability ever since I started playing video games. I've never been able to be as good with burst guns as I am with full auto or like other types. I think it's definitely going to get a nerf, definitely a fire rate nerf. I think that's what it's got to be. It's just that build up, that fire rate build up is just, it happens immediately. It's like it's not even a build up, it's just there. And I think that's what's really going to get the nerf because it will get pretty boring pretty fast if, like, when the Rampage came out and all we heard was that. There's a blue. You already hear it with the Nemesis. But yeah, you just already immediately hear it when you drop in, and it's kind of all you hear, just like the Rampage was. And I think having one gun as the meta, especially in pro play, makes everything super boring. It's probably one of the most boring things you can see in pro play, especially when the Rampage was meta. When the Rampage was meta, pro play just sucked. It was everybody just doing poke fight. It was poke fighting the entire game. The entire game was poke fighting until you absolutely got pushed out of your position and then you died. It was just the team that got down to the best position, which obviously position is an advantage, but it was like a no contest. If you get pushed out of your position due to the storm, the Rampage is just like someone in a better position with the Rampage is just going to gun you down, and there was no way to outplay it. And even before that, you just had people constantly poking you down and taking away your health and all your shields with the Rampage. And I think we're going to see something similar with the Nemesis because it's got a similar long range capability, especially when you put like a stabilizer on that thing. It's got literally no recoil. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm really excited to see where this goes in pro play, and the Nemesis is definitely going to be getting a nerf soon. But for now, see ya.